Oh God.
With Infinity War's intense climax that left half the heroes dusted, Endgame looks like it is going to be insane.
I know it is. Because I don't know what I'm gonna do if it doesn't.
Especially with how many questions were left unanswered with the snappy cliffhanger of Infinity War. So here are my top 10 predictions for Avengers Endgame.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
With Marvel films generating billions in toy sales, inevitably heroes' gear is made sure to change every film, and with new costumes and weaponry comes an accompanying toy line.
New Avengers Ultimate Heroes figures, each sold separately.
Thanos, no doubt ditching a busted Infinity Gauntlet, will allegedly have a new weapon which is a double-bladed sword, which is no doubt perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Though the irony of Thanos using a double-edged blade, somewhat reminiscent of the blade that he gifted Gamora, is a staunch reminder of all that he sacrificed in his quest for balance in the galaxy. Though some people on the internet have already concluded a different origin for Thanos' blade. One savvy redditor has pointed out is unmistakably a blade from his infamous Thanos copter. Or he just has a cool new sword.
Avengers Ultimate Heroes figures, each sold separately.
Avengers, assemble!
Hey, Banner!
No Banner, only Hulk!
What are you doing?
I believe that the official concept art for the Hulk has potentially unraveled a huge plot point for Endgame.
We have a Hulk.
At the beginning of Infinity War, Hulk ambushes Thanos once more as the heroes' favoured ace up their sleeve. Except
let him have his fun.
the trick no longer works and he's quickly shown the full force of a powered-up Titan and is easily dispatched by Thanos. Later, when the children of Thanos arrive and wreak havoc on Earth, Bruce tries to transform once more into the Hulk, but to no avail. Now, some of the audience, myself included, assumed it was because Hulk just got a royal beatdown. Except the Russos directly expressed their surprise at this and said,
"The Hulk is in a very interesting place. In Infinity War, he and Banner have been at odds over who controls the host body since we first met Bruce Banner. It's a Jekyll and Hyde relationship. They grow at turns weary with one another.
I don't know, we should have been having a thing.
Hulk refuses to help Banner because he believes that Banner only uses the Hulk to solve problems. And Hulk, I think, is starting to perceive himself as who should control the host body because he doesn't feel like Banner brings an awful lot to the table. In Infinity War, Banner has to become the hero and go to war with Thanos and his minions. And he does so, and he's successful, but ultimately not at beating Thanos.
I didn't think much of it until I realized why they may be so keen for people to understand a seemingly inconsequential directorial decision. Because the Hulk/Banner story arc of ongoing conflict has a potential ultimate resolution in Endgame, the perfect catalyst to unify the two into one, a more all-round powerful entity. How? Well, we've seen this occur as a staple version of the Hulk in the comics, in which the Hulk retains Banner's intelligence and they essentially become one. Looking at this art, if he quote-unquote hulked out, his clothes would have been ripped into his signature torn pants. Sure, he could transform, then change into the suit, but we haven't seen Hulk suit up before, which signifies teamwork and intelligence. Plus, wouldn't it be the perfect arc for both sides of the coin to accept each other and reach their potential in Endgame? It would make perfect sense why the Russos were so adamant that people understood their conflict before finally resolving it after 4 films. Like they say, 2 heads are better than one.
Come out! Come out! Come out! What do you mean, no?
Through the mystic arts, we harness energy and shape reality.
Tilda Swinton is on the cast list of Endgame, officially as the Ancient One. Interestingly, Mark Ruffalo had said that some of his favourite actors to work with recently was Tilda Swinton. Whatever the catalyst of her inclusion, I believe she will have one interesting side effect: granting the Hulk his intelligence. We've seen this performed before in the comics, sometimes via science and others by magic.
famous healer or this arcane, maybe not so much famous as this legendary. Some people know about healer.
The quantum realm is a reality where all concepts of time become irrelevant. Concepts of time. You went in, you got out.
Speaking of suits, there are these white suits appearing on toy leaks on Avengers, notably Rocket, Thor, and even Cap, which coincidentally looks suspiciously similar to the one Hank Pym used in Ant-Man and the Wasp to enter the quantum realm.
This place, it changes you.
Also, Ant-Man miraculously escaped before showing up post-snap in the Endgame trailer, begging the question, how did he escape, what did he learn, and how will that help the Avengers in Endgame?
This is Scott Lang. We met a few years ago at the airport in Germany. I got really big.
Is this an old message?
Ant-Man, I know you know that.
It's the front door.
That's me. Can you buzz me in?
Now, there are two possible plot devices we may see in Endgame. The first is the Quantum Realm City and/or civilizations Wasp spoke of.
There's so much we didn't know about this place, Henry. Worlds upon worlds, entire civilizations, far more than we ever theorized.
Ant-Man director Peyton Reed also led fans to the blink and you'll miss it shot after Ant-Man and Wasp came out. Just like Ant-Man was told to avoid going subatomic in the original, clearly there's something to be found there. There's also been a lot of direct comments made on avoiding a time vortex by recent inhabitant and the original Wasp.
And don't get sucked into a time vortex. We won't be able to save you.
Wherever Ant-Man goes, the quantum realm follows, and I believe whether time travel or some other technological gain for the Avengers, the mystery of the secrets in the quantum realm will be revealed in Endgame.
Of course they make Ant-Man pathetic and the Wasp incredible. Hey, let me tell you something. They didn't do that. I made Ant-Man pathetic.
Oh, God.
It's pretty evident that although we will permanently lose some heroes in Endgame, a bunch of existing snap-affected Avengers upcoming movies are confirmed. The million-dollar question is, how will the snap be undone? In the original Infinity Gauntlet comic, it was Nebula who snatched up the gauntlet while Thanos was distracted and effectively wished back 24 hours to undo Thanos' damage on half of the inhabitants of the universe. But MCU's Infinity War seems to follow more of a Dragon Ball rules for their Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos effectively burnt out the gauntlet with his wish, and with it too, the hope of wresting control of it simply to bring everyone back. So how will this be resolved in Endgame? They could take the burnt out gauntlet and shove the gems into the backup one that Idri's holding.
Is capable of harnessing the power of the stones.
Sorry, not holding.
But your hands are mine alone.
The other theories floating around all contain time travel in one form or another. The first is Ant-Man's quantum realm and what Scott Lang discovered there, as well as dangerous sounding time vortexes which were mentioned.
Hello?
And we've also learned that the heroes are probably going to visit them. The second, one of my favorites, has to do with Doctor Strange secretly using the Time Stone in his battle against Thanos and sliding it through time. And this theory will be linked at the end of this video, as it is pretty in-depth. Now the third is, well, it's actually a spoiler that Samuel L. Jackson gave in regards to Captain Marvel's powers before a movie dropped. Although we know the Captain Marvel movie is a prequel to most of the current MCU movies, Sam Jackson has gone on record to Entertainment Tonight to say, she's pretty much the strongest character in terms of someone with powers are able to do things in the Marvel Universe. At some point, we'll find out how powerful she is and all the things that she's capable of. She's one of the few people in the Marvel Universe that can time travel. So, Nick Fury quantum pages Captain Marvel through time to clean up the Infinity War mess. I don't know how that'll play out, but it actually seems pretty legit.
Stars and Stripes!
Hey,
Just start the cartoon.
Hey, you want to shut up?
Captain America is arguably the heart of the Avengers, and some of the most heart-wrenching moments in the MCU belong to good guy Steve Rogers.
You're alive. You came back.
Well, I couldn't leave my best girl. Not when she owes me a dance.
Chris Evans tweeted what seems to be his last time rocking the Stars and Stripes by saying, "Officially wrapped on Avengers 4, it was an emotional day to say the least. Playing this role over the last 8 years has been an honor. To everyone in front of the camera, behind the camera, and in the audience, thank you for the memories. Eternally grateful." It's not like it's the first time Cap has given up his life before for the greater good. Previously in the comics, both Bucky Barnes and Sam Wilson have taken up the mantle of Captain America before. Unfortunately, currently both are dusted during the fateful snap. Going out on a limb here, I am going to guess that they do return and Cap doesn't, and the question is, who of the two would make the most sense to take up the mantle?
You couldn't have done that earlier?
I hate you.
My money is on Buck for 2 reasons. Cap's focal point since Winter Soldier has been to protect his best mate. Their bond is nigh unbreakable through thick and thin, and his character has had a lot more development than Sam. If Cap laid down his life, Bucky, who was reluctant to rejoin the fight, seeing all Cap has sacrificed would make sense that he would feel honor-bound to pick up the mantle. He has the abilities, the strength, and would lead by Cap's example.
How you been, Buck? Not bad. For the end of the world.
And plus, Sebastian Stan is pretty much confirmed it.
You know, I was sitting there in the room with them, and basically they were saying to me that this is what's going to happen. He's going to become the Winter Soldier, and then eventually he's going to be Captain America.
I understood that reference.
It is my curse to know all who journey here.
Where is the Soul Stone?
You should know. It extracts a terrible price.
There's a lot of Endgame theories that revolve around how Steve Rogers would die. And the other question, when? Seeing as the fateful snap looks to be undone, a lot of people are hypothesizing that Steve and the other Avengers would presumably go back in time to retrieve the stones. If the Avengers travel back in time, somebody is going to have to retrieve the Soul Stone.
It extracts a terrible price.
I am prepared.
We all think that at first. We are all wrong.
My favorite theory involves Cap going to visit Vormir with Bucky, and well, what a surprise would it be to see his longtime nemesis, the Red Skull.
It cast me out, banished me here, guiding others to a treasure I cannot possess.
And also more fitting that old Cap would be forced to sacrifice his own life for the Soul Stone in front of his old nemesis, and imagine the speech he gives to Buck about taking up the mantle before committing the inevitable ultimate sacrifice.
Because I'm with you to the end of the line.
Let's go, bub.
With Disney acquiring Fox, the lineup of Marvel characters such as the X-Men and Deadpool are now officially at their disposal.
No.
Hugh Jackman himself has been quoted as saying,
Disney is purchasing aspects of 20th Century Fox,
Right.
and I know you've always kind of been interested in that X-Men Avengers crossover.
For the whole 17 years, I kept thinking that'd be so great. Like, I would love to see, you know, particularly Iron Man or the Hulk and Wolverine together. Every time I saw an Avengers movie, I could just see Wolverine in the middle of them, like punching them all on the head. And I thought, but it was like, oh, well, that's not going to happen. And it was interesting, just when I first saw that headline, it was just a possibility of it, and who knows what's going to happen. I was like, hang on. But I think, unfortunately, the ship has sailed for me. But for someone else, I would like to see Wolverine in there. I'm sure it'll happen.
Marvel boss Kevin Feige said that movies built around Fox's characters could happen in the first 6 months of this year. Feige did say that he hasn't been given the official green light to start any production based on Fox heroes, but he didn't say no cameos.
Put in building to that moment that I got chills. And I realized
this is the single biggest ensemble cast ever put together for a superhero film, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Marvel to really flex their muscles and put the icing on this cake. I mean, if Howard the Duck makes it as a blink-and-you'll-miss-it Easter egg in Guardians of the Galaxies, anything's possible.
You're out of luck until you've gone duck.
Whether it's too late for Wolverine, I predict we will get a surprise cameo from at least one of the Fox properties as an Easter egg and nod to the greater fandom. But if it is Wolverine, goddammit, I hope he suits up.
Put on the suit.
When Loki led the All-Father into a premature retirement, he didn't bank on one thing.
I swear I left him right here.
Maybe Odin enjoyed his stay at Shady Acres Care Home. Now, this theory is a stretch, but there is some leaked footage I found on the internet of what appears to be Odin finding a camera phone in the retirement home and having the time of his life. You've heard of the Odin Force, but have you seen the Odin dance?
Skrulls are infiltrating your planet. They're shapeshifters.
With the coming release of Captain Marvel just before Endgame, it seems Skrull infiltration is all but inevitable in the wider universe, the Skrulls being shapeshifting aliens, sworn enemies of the Kree, and their Super Skrull counterparts able to mimic even the mightiest Earth's heroes' abilities. We have previously witnessed in various media everyone from Hank Pym to Captain America as a Skrull.
Thor!
So who, if anyone, in Endgame is likely to be a Skrull? Well, your guess is as good as mine, though a hotly contested fan theory revolves around Hawkeye, aka Ronan. There have been a few underlying hints that Clint Barton could be a Skrull, and the first being his slip on knowledge of the Tesseract and how it works.
Dax, no, I am. If there's any tampering, sir, it wasn't at this end.
At this end?
Yeah, the cube is a doorway to the other end of space, right? The door's open from both sides.
Something he wouldn't innately know, though it could be just sound logic and exposition, but with Nick Fury's previous dealings with Skrulls, this scene takes on a new doubtful undercurrent. The second being when Loki initially uses the Mind Stone on Agent Barton with a scepter, he has this look of surprise on his face. Now, many speculate that it was because it was his first trial run using the scepter. Others, however, have gone further to say that maybe he saw what Hawkeye truly was and was secretly amused by this revelation. Now, people are questioning this theory as so much time has gone into building the character of Hawkeye and his family, but wouldn't that be an even bigger tragedy to have a deception on such a large scale that had been planted so long ago? As for who else may turn out to be a Skrull, well...
Who else? Who else is a Skrull, and where are they?
We are everywhere. You will see.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
If you want to support the channel in a more personal way, then check out this Avengers Endgame